Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Tina Dawson, the host of Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Tina Dawson, the owner of True Blue Designs, and it is totally an honor to be before you this evening. Please like and share and let everyone know that you are on the air. We are, this particular show is pre-recorded, but it will be shown on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel at True Blue Designs. The state of Georgia currently has over 11,000 children in foster care. Children in the state's custody thrive when they can be placed in nurturing home settings. Tonight's guest is here to share his story of suddenly becoming a parent overnight. It's a story of love, forgiveness, and acceptance. His story will definitely warm your heart and show how one phone call can change your life forever. Help me give a warm welcome to tonight's guest, Mr. Todd Hall. Hey, Todd, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much there you go. Thank you so much for being on tonight's show.
No problem.
All right. So we're going to start off by allowing you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Huh?
So I was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay.
I grew up in Providence, Kentucky. Lived there up until I moved here. No, sorry. Been there, went to college there. Um, then moved here in 2001 in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been here ever since. I went to Murray State University. I also attended University of Kentucky, which is where I pledged my fraternity, the illustrious Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
Fall '98. Let's see. I am my mother's only child. I did have three siblings. One of my siblings, the oldest, passed away 2 years ago. But it was four of us total. I currently am working at Fulton County Board of Health. I am a communicable disease specialist where I do outreach and work in the clinic, assisting people with STDs, all of them, HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, hep C, all that.
Okay.
And currently, before that, I was working in foster care. I worked there, I guess, about 3 or 4 years. Started off working in a group home setting with males and females. And then I left that and went into ILP, which is Independent Living Program for those who are 18 and above, up to 24. For those who are about to, if they would say they are about to age out of care, so they want to give them an opportunity to be able to live on their own. So I started off as a life coach with that, and then I was eventually promoted to be the director of the program.
Oh, wow.
Then after that, the organization relocate, to Tampa, Florida. I was not doing that. So I became a behavioral aide. I did that for a little over a year, and then after that, I kind of got back into the whole STD thing again. Just kind of like my go-to, and I'm good at it, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, so we're going to talk about. I'm glad that you mentioned that you used to work in the foster care system. When you share your story, you're going to talk about how this thing came full circle.
Say it again.
Right. So let's talk about the day you got that phone call. Tell us a little bit about what your life was like before and the day you got the phone call.
Well, I'm a little older now, a little seasoned, so I wasn't wilding out or nothing like that. But definitely, living an independent life for me. My mother had recently passed 2020, so I was taking care of her prior to that. So, getting readjusted, but, basically like a single life, a bachelor's life. Eat what I want to eat, do what I want to do, go where I want to go, come in, take a nap. Take a nap after work was priceless. Um, cook for myself. Just doing me. Um, so I guess to start a little bit before the call, just to give a little intro, I had a family relative that was moving back from one state to another and
Hmm.
gave me a call during the 4th of July weekend and
Okay.
stated that they and their children will be in the Greyhound bus station for a layover. And
Hmm.
that was on the 4th, actually. No, that was on the 3rd. Sorry, that was on the 3rd. Sunday. It said, if I had a chance to stop by and see them, I could. They're going to be there. The layover was until midnight, is what they told me.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, if I get a chance, because I was going to an event and I didn't get a chance to go by there. But I thought that they had, gone.
Right.
So of course, Monday was a 4th of July that year. It was on a Monday. So Tuesday, I go to work, and I was working in a clinic at my job downtown, and I get a call a little bit after 12 o'clock from another family relative who tells me that these three young girls, babies, are still at the Greyhound bus station.
And what were their ages?
At the time, the youngest was, I think, 17 months.
17 months.
She wasn't two yet.
Okay.
The middle child was 7, and the oldest was 11.
Okay. So 11, 7, and probably a year and a half.
Hmm.
Something like that, right?
Yeah,
And you got a call that these three children were at the bus station alone by
alone. Yeah,
themselves,
yes. Their
right?
their their parent had went off to apparently quote unquote make some money or
Okay.
something, because they didn't have enough to get back home to where they were going. And the oldest child had the cell phone and FaceTime um, the other relative. I'm trying to be mindful so I won't,
Oh, I
give
understand.
anybody's name or anything. But
Yeah.
they FaceTime another family relative that's close knit in the family and
Mhm.
stated that, their mother had been gone
And then
well over an hour. Yeah,
right.
over an hour, and they were concerned. So that's when I got the call. And of course, I went kind of into panic mode because that's a very dangerous area. Anybody who lives in Atlanta knows that the Greyhound bus station is not where you want to play around, not where you want to stay too long.
Right.
So I went to tell my supervisor that I was going, what was going on, and I was pretty much, shaken up. So I was going to walk. 'Cause I actually had parked my car at the train station. They were like, no, 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 don't do that. We'll get somebody to take you down there. So they did. I arrived, and I remember seeing those three little
Mm,
girls sitting on the floor with the phone put up to the wall,
mm.
and they were very dirty, hair all over the place, hungry, and they just come and ran and just hugged me. And I hadn't seen a baby probably in about a little over a year. I hadn't seen her, so she
Okay.
would remember me. She wouldn't have remembered me. But she
Right.
just crawled up my arm and went to sleep.
But the two older children knew exactly
Yeah,
who
they
you
knew me. Oh,
were.
yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
She called and got my to sleep. So I sat there for about 2 hours
Oh
to
wow.
see if their parent would arrive, come back, and they never did.
Oh wow.
So I eventually got a call and told my job, that I need to take the girls home. I took them home, and they have been with me since.
Ever since. They've
Yes.
been with Uncle Daddy Todd.
Oh wow. Ain't that it?
So let me ask you this. So are you the only family member that is living in Georgia, in Atlanta?
Hmm.
Okay, so that's why you got the call
Yes.
versus
Yes.
okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't say that part. Yes.
Right. So what was it like when they first came to the house? I mean, I know their lives were shattered, and you were a single man living life, had a job, your own responsibilities. and in a matter of a phone call, now you are a father to three children.
I
You're a
think when it
guardian. Let me
first,
say this, you're a guardian
when,
to three children.
yeah, when it first happened, I didn't think about it like that. It was more of, I think I was more concerned about their parent missing
Okay.
and just making sure they were taken care of. I didn't know it was going to be a more permanent situation. Um, so yeah, I wasn't thinking like that. It was, I think I would call it. My mom used to call this survival mode. You
Uh-huh.
go to that mode where you just, you hustling and what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do this. So I didn't think about it like that, and um, it was scary a little bit. I didn't know what was gonna happen the next couple of days, and then I just moved forward. But
Right.
the girls, yeah, they were cool in the house. I mean, I just had a little 2 bedroom duplex. It's small, no closet space at all, but it was good for me. But
Right.
so I had to move everything around and
Yeah.
get a blow up bed and so they could sleep comfortably. But they were fine. To them it was good because to my understanding, for what the oldest explained to me, they were actually sleeping in a tent the night before
Oh no.
on the street. Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
yeah. So
So,
they've been through a lot.
so your house was cozy.
Yeah, it was cool. They were cool with it.
Did the parent ever have you reached out? Were you able to find the parent? Is the
Yeah, the
parent
parents
okay?
did appear by that Friday. Actually, I was in the process of making a missing persons report,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a call from the parents' sibling
Okay.
um, who had located that parent and stated that they had went back to their hometown, which is what they were supposed to be on their way to, and they had left the girls there in Atlanta. And when I finally spoke to that person, I was, of course, I was scared and yet relieved that they were okay. But then I went to a mode of, what
What?
you doing and why are you there? And they were basically just kind of like, well, when I got back, whenever that was, when I got back, I didn't see them. I was scared. I didn't know if, the police didn't pick them up or someone had called you. So I didn't want to go to jail. So I just took the money and went on back home,
Oh wow.
you know. And of course, that was very devastating for the oldest two children to hear, or any variation of it. However,
Right.
however they put it, it still didn't sit well with the kids. They
Right.
they were
Yeah.
definitely traumatized from the whole experience, and then including realizing that not only were they parent was okay, but they went back home and left them in Atlanta.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I know that you are a God-fearing man,
Yes,
and we
ma'am.
all know that God don't. He works in mysterious ways. He works in mysterious ways, and I don't think it was happenstance that it all happened to where you were the person that actually got the kids, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very uncanny. Um, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna add this in here real quickly. It's just one of those watch out to those of you, the young adults who
Mhm.
are childless right now. When your mother tells you that you will get a child that act just like you, they speak that thing over your life for real. And I thought at this age, I'm 50 now.
Okay. Okay.
That wasn't going to happen. Like I thought, well, Mama got it wrong because it ain't going to never happen.
Right.
But it's funny how that happened times three. It happened anyway. And I know she ain't having. If she taking a little mini break from praise the Lord, she ain't have somewhere laughing and cracking up because baby, it's some things down here. It's some things here. I tell you.
And I bet when everything happened, you really didn't get a chance. Like you said, everything was happening so quick and
Hmm.
snowballing. You
Yeah.
didn't get a chance really to think. Like you said, you're in survival mode. And you're thinking about, okay, number one, let me get these kids safe.
Right.
Got that. Then number two, let me find out what the parent is because I'm concerned about the parent, right?
Correct.
Once you've done that, so once you talk to the parent, What were the next steps that you had to go to or go through? Because you still have the children.
Well, this is probably where my experience in foster care kicked in.
Okay.
Because one thing I knew, I didn't have any legal rights to the
Right.
children,
Right.
even though they are my relatives. They're not random; they go blood relatives.
Okay.
I didn't have any rights. So if something happened in that process, I would be in a bad situation.
Okay.
So I contacted our defects, Department of Family and Children Services.
Okay.
I reported the incident
Okay.
as a case of neglect. Explained what happened, and we went for that to that's a whole ordeal to itself. But
Right.
so that was the next step was to put them in foster care. And some people would say, well, why would you do that? Put them in the system. Well, because they need a coverage.
Right.
They need legal coverage, and when you don't have your legal rights, anything can happen, and anything can happen. Anybody can come take them, snatch them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that they were good. So I started that process. It took a while
Mm-hmm.
to get the assistance and get someone to come to the house. I got them July 5th. No one came to my house, and they didn't get actually entered into foster care until July 28th.
Oh wow. So that's 2.5 weeks.
And I called three separate times.
Oh wow.
And it got to a point because I had, very a lot of support from a lot of friends. My best friend, who's
Mm-hmm.
also Pratt, who Donnell,
Mm-hmm.
um, my pastor, his wife, my church has been impeccable in support,
Mm-hmm.
literally. My godmother who lives here. So I had people helping me take care of the girls while cause I had to work. You
Right.
know, they
Mm-hmm.
came in my life, but during this crunch time, I still had to work. Monday through Friday.
Right.
And so I
So
don't have money. I don't have money for daycare. I don't. I don't know what that process is like.
right. Right. So
So
that's
it got.
it's truly that it takes a village.
Yeah,
Raise
definitely.
children.
I've had it, and I am continuing to get it from many people, which I really appreciate. That's it's different. It comes to different places, but I just feel like God knows when what you need, and when you need it,
Right. Right.
and just apply.
Yeah, and the fact that you did what he asked you to do, he's gonna provide the resources and everything you need to be able to take care of those children. Um, you were saying that your church has been really, really, really a rock for you. Can you talk about how your faith has really helped you through this process?
Whew. Um, that's not hard. It's just trying to narrow it down.
Right, gotcha.
So many ways. I definitely believe everything happens for a reason and a
Mhm.
purpose. I think that I a lot of people have given me a lot of accolades about making the decisions to keep these girls, to do this for these girls, but it's not always just about them helping me, them me helping them. They've helped me.
Yeah,
Losing a parent is devastating,
yeah,
especially when you're very close to them. So there was definitely a gap, and I know that I was going through some depression for a while. I didn't realize it after my other passed in 2020. So it's kind of like we helping each other thing. And I think what God did that. You know, I
yeah,
think that He just knew what I needed. Um, and as far as depending on Him, I mean, my mother raised me in church. My whole family, my grandmother, my aunts, uncles. It was just a part of the process. And with that, you're giving these children a foundation because it blesses my heart to hear them say things like, talk about God and, listen to the sermons and, teach them about prayer and them
mhm,
asking questions. And it lays a foundation and gives them hope because
yeah,
that's where my hope comes from.
right,
But to watch these young ladies form hope and faith that
yeah,
they can do better and it's going to get better,
right,
considering all that they've been through, means a lot. And
yeah,
then to have positive people around them in the church,
mhm,
positive black women and black men who are Christians, you know what I'm saying, who are living their lives and careers and doing their thing, but giving homage to God, teaching about how to tithe and all that stuff. It's really been helpful and great and supportive, and they're learning. They're learning the good things. They're learning how to not have to worry about putting it on themselves to know that the Father um, has their back, and
Yeah.
he was sitting a ram in the bush.
Yes.
He ascended. But they're learning that. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
learning that where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where the spirituality comes from. Like I said, for me, I just feel like that God know. I know He knows what He's doing. I know that I would have never thought I would be in this position or this place, but I I have to move forward, thinking and the way things have happened in a dominoes effect.
Yeah.
This could have went sour real fast and went all kinds of crazy, but it's really, really been from some of the stories I've heard, it's been kind of smooth compared
Right.
to some people. Some of it's because of my knowledge, the resources that I had behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
as well as just taking the steps. And yeah, he's definitely it's been good. And God has definitely has shown up and showed out in so many ways that you just can't even imagine.
Yeah, and you were saying that just trying to give them hope, giving them or letting them know that, you may have come out of this situation, but you can choose for that not to be your path, right? And that
Hmm.
you can actually, you've already seen, maybe the worst. And now, we're pouring hope into you to understand that you can become better, right, than what you have seen. And then, like you say, surrounding them around positive people to help reinforce that statement.
Yeah,
Really with kids, the sky is the limit. It really is. And I think that there are gifts and we're in their lives to manage and guide, right? Because they really don't belong to us, they belong to him. But
correct.
it's our job to manage and guide, right? And so now, like you said, you're just showing them another part of life and that they have so many options. They really do. They can be and do whatever they choose to be and do, but they have to have that nurturing environment. So I know for a fact you're giving them that.
Well, one thing that's definite um, in the I would say in the actual physical of this compared to what you hear or what the mental is that actions speak louder than words. And you
Mhm.
can teach something all day long, but if you don't live it, it doesn't mean anything. And
Yep.
so, they're learning in church, they're learning into the word from my pastor, from different ones spiritually about, you can do all that talking, but if you're not walking. So it also makes me walk differently
Mhm.
because I know that they're watching me. I know that I'm also being three young ladies, that I'm the image for them for that male relationship they're going to have when they're older. You know what I'm saying? How that is, how you interact, how you interact in relationships, how you talk to them, how you treat them. You know what I'm saying? I'm the image. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's pressure
Mhm.
now, but it makes me think differently. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
thinking differently makes me act differently. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm definitely a work in progress, but I'm moving differently because
Right.
of it. For the
Yeah.
positive. For the positive.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because the situation is different. Right.
Huh?
I said you're moving differently because the situation is different.
Way different.
Before you left out your house, you was moving the way you were moving. But when you came back in that house, you had to move totally different.
Oh wow! You look. I mean, that little duplex. That thing got filled up real fast.
So let
That thing.
so let me ask you this:
Sure.
what are some of the things that you've learned about the foster care system? You worked in the system. You worked on one side of it.
Woo.
Now that you are a foster parent, you're on a totally different side. So, what are some of the things that you've learned being on this side of the foster care system?
First thing is patience. It's very important. No, it's very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Um, because every person I have dealt with, 98% of the ones I have dealt with were genuinely concerned and helpful.
Okay.
But because it's so many, as I heard you in your intro, it's so many children out there. They're
Mhm.
busy, 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 busy. They're overworked, and
Mhm.
sometimes things get lost in the mix. So you have to be proactive
Okay.
yourself. And not quickly lose your temper on things not getting done. Just be proactive to make sure that you're reminding, calling, doing things. Because at any given time, and that what 2.5 weeks, I could have said forget it.
Right.
But then again, the benefits later on that I received are
Mhm.
priceless. You know what I'm saying? And they were good for the girls to have. Um, I've also learned in this process that you know, being foster care is not all horrible. It's not all bad, like some people might think it is,
Mhm.
because they provide you with so many resources that you don't know about,
Mm.
that you
Okay.
wouldn't know about. Not just about things like typical stuff people talk about, food stamps and all that, whatever. No, there's a lot of resources for all kinds of utensils, all kinds of learning things. When the oldest was going through some things in one of her classes, they're getting tutors for her.
Oh, okay. No,
You know
I
what I'm
didn't
saying?
know that. It's service. Yeah.
That and I mean, I didn't have to pay anything. You know what I'm saying? Because they're in the system. They are talking about college and how they'll assist with college and pay for it. There's a lot of things. There are benefits in the resources of it. So yes, it's some ups and some downs, and it's some headaches. But if you're thinking of the children's welfare,
Right.
overall it is beneficial. And that's why I said patience is what I learned. Because I hear a lot of complaints. I heard a lot of complaints on the other side from
Right.
parents and people.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand that what's the bigger picture? Are you doing this for you, or are you doing it for the kids? If you're doing it for the kids, then hey, because some of these people are not, I know there are people who are nasty and rude, but a lot of these case workers, they're really, really concerned. They're just so overworked
Right.
that, your case may get shuffled around a little bit before we get to what you need. But you
Right.
can't give up. You got to push forward and move on. They have, but as I said, resources. The resources are amazing. There are a lot of great resources, but if you don't go for it and ask about them and check on them and talk and go to meetings and things of that nature, you're not going to know. You're going to put yourself in maybe um, have more issues or more challenges than what you have to have.
Is one of the resources that they have therapy? Do they offer therapy?
A resource for therapy, but they don't necessarily offer therapy.
Oh,
So
okay.
they may ask, "Do you think that the child needs therapy?"
Okay.
And then they go from a resource from there. Um, yeah.
Okay. So have you and the children been through therapy?
Well, the children are the two oldest are doing a variation of therapy.
Okay.
They've had some. All the children have assessments because it was trauma of
Yeah.
what they experienced and things that happened prior to coming here.
Right.
But they're in therapy. Yes, they are.
Okay. That's good. And it's helping them, I'm sure. Well, if you need some therapy, you need a list of
Well,
therapy.
what I'm saying is that it's a process. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a process. I mean, when you're dealing with foster kids, no matter what, whether you're your relatives or not, there's major trust issues, which is probably why they're in the system in the first place. So when you bring strangers in, even though they mean well and have great tactics, they have to form a trust with that person.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you ask me to helping. We
Okay.
still building the trust so we
Right.
can break down some of those things to get to the core to be able to help. But
Okay.
they enjoy it. They get to when they're enjoying that time. But is
Mm-hmm.
it have I seen it manifest totally yet? No, not yet. No. But we
Okay.
still gonna go forward though. That's all right.
Okay. 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 Like you said, it does. They've been through a lot, and it does. It takes time
Yeah.
to break down that wall. Let's see. How has your family supported you? You said you end up getting a phone call from a family member, and you're the only one here in Georgia. So how has the family supported you in this?
Um, both sides are very supportive.
Okay.
In different ways.
Uh-huh.
Different ways. Um, how do I say this? Yeah, I don't know how to say it without saying things I don't want to say. Okay, so yes, my family is very supportive on both sides. They just done random things. You know what I'm saying? Until across the board. The girls have received gifts, things in the mail, money, clothes, you know, support, conversations. I've taken them over to my mother's side of the family that
Mhm.
they embraced them like they were blood relatives, you
Mhm.
know, and hear stories, hear different things, and of course the other side of the family, they love them. They FaceTime with them. They talk to them.
Mhm.
They've sent things, supportive when we've had challenges. They're doing basically what those of us who are old school. When you say it takes a whole village. It may not be locally, but through things like technology with FaceTime and
Yeah.
video calls. When something going down, everybody getting a call. What's the problem? What's wrong with you?
That's
You
old
know.
school.
So you know what I'm saying? Where before, we were face to face. Now we have video calls.
Right.
So it's the same energy, just
Right.
they're not locally with you. But yes, they are. But I think the thing that's a blessing about it is that the encouragement that they've given me, and how many of them have just expressed how they are trusting me with these three lives, and how they have so much faith in what I'm doing, and then the reassuring of what they see as progression in the girls.
Oh
Some of
wow.
them they've been around since they were born, so they've seen things that I wasn't around for because I live in Atlanta.
Right.
They've seen things, and so to see them now, to see the smiles on their faces, the joy, to see them well groomed, to see the grades improving, to see these things. When I got the baby, she wasn't well. She did on potty train, but she wasn't really talking
Uh-huh.
a lot. She was doing more the baby talk. And now she's saying her prayers at the table, and
Oh.
and talking to everybody. She says my name, everyone's name. She wasn't doing any of that before.
Oh.
You know, so yeah, they're supportive in many ways. I'm so thankful to have a family that shows love and support, and this isn't just happy on the back, but actually is trying to be as proactive as they can be from a distance.
From a distance, yeah.
Yeah.
So it happened in 2023, or did it happen in 2022 when you got the
2022.
oh 22? Okay, so that's why you were saying it's been a year.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a year.
Hmm.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Well, I saw a picture of them and they were smiling. They were beaming, and I really appreciate you sharing that. That
Oh yeah, that those
they
those
are
things.
precious. They really
Yeah,
are.
they are. I think that was interesting too. Finding out, um, I've done a lot of things with the girls. They've been exposed to a lot of positive things,
Hmm.
and I was I was frustrated because I was taught while I worked at it that you can't take pictures of kids in foster care. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And I used to get in my feelings because I would send their parent pictures, and then that parent would post it on Facebook and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff, but you post all this
right.
other stuff. But I was blessed to have one of the caseworkers tell me, you can actually post anything on them. You just can't show their faces. If you black out their faces, you
Okay.
post whatever you want to post. I don't know if people know that or not, but
Right.
you can, because sometimes you want to show the good things and things that honors and winnings and great moments. But you're thinking, well, I can't do that because they're in foster care. But yeah,
Right.
if you black out their faces, you can show whatever you want to show and celebrate them. And the kids don't know the difference. They just so glad that you're
Right.
bragging on them. So that's something I think was great that I learned as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
How
Because I
you can
remember
still
when you
celebrate your children, your foster kids, without exposing them
right.
their identities. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember when you posted it, you put smiley faces on
Yeah.
there, and I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
mama. What do they call you, Todd? Do they call you Todd, Uncle Todd?
Well, the two oldest definitely say Uncle Todd. The
Okay.
baby, it depends on what week it is. I've been Daddy, Todd, Uncle Todd. So she goes through this change back and forth.
She
But with
goes,
her, it's a little different because she's so young.
yeah. Yeah, she did.
And I think her biological father, she will be too young to remember who
Mhm.
he is, and he's not a part of her life. The others two have had conversations. They know exactly who he is. So for
Mhm.
her, I think, when especially being the only male present in her life and picking her up back and forth from daycare, she's seeing the other kids' fathers come. And I
Oh,
think in her mind, she's like, well, this must be daddy. I
yeah.
know that my sister say Uncle Todd, but I mean, he doing everything the other daddy doing. He got to be daddy. He's got to be. So she's trying to figure it out. She's trying to figure it out.
They're
But
so
if she said daddy, I don't correct her because,
cute.
I don't want to rob her of that joy of feeling like, of that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. Look,
I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem with it.
they're so cute. They're so cute at that age.
Yeah. Well, some days. Some days. Not every day.
So let me ask you this, because you mentioned doing. So, did you learn how to do hair, or did you have somebody help you?
Okay, let's tell the truth. I tried. I tried. First of all, like my mother, I am very heavy-handed, and yeah, I tried it. It didn't go well. It didn't. It didn't go well. It didn't. I tried. Now I got the clothes all day. You know what I'm saying? I can coordinate something out. I can coordinate some clothes, but I got that from my mom. My mom always taught me about how to coordinate, how to put this with this and that with that. So I got an eye. But that hair, I was going to try to get like a mannequin and like practice, but I was like, I ain't doing this. It's not my ministry. It's just not. It's just not my ministry. I'm not going to attempt to do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can plait,
Mhm.
but at parting, doing the parts all straight, and it's too confusing. I can't. No,
It's a skill, Todd. It's a skill.
well, it ain't mine.
See, so
It's not
that's
mine.
why it was good for you to have a village, so that you can lean on your village to help you do that hair.
Well, hold, let me say, I do have this because the oldest actually is doing their hair curly, and she's
Really,
really so every style that you saw in those pictures, she did those.
really.
She did all that. Yeah. So she's my she was gonna be my lawyer and have her little side business doing hair while she in college. Cause yeah, she's getting better and better. But yes,
Oh,
to answer your question originally, I do have somebody to do their hair. Well, I paused because I'm trying. Every time I get somebody good, something happen and they stop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to find a regular. So I think I got a person that's regularly, but anybody who's watching, if you want to volunteer and you know how to do some hair, please get in contact with my soror and let her get that with me because, it ain't my ministry, y'all. It's not my ministry. It's not here.
what side of town do you live on?
Oh, I'm on the east side.
You're on the east side. Okay.
Stone
Okay.
Mountain. Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain.
Oh, you're close to me. I never knew that. I'm in
Yeah.
Concord.
I know you were calling yours. I'm in your house.
I'll come.
I know, but no, I have been living on the east side since 2007.
I did not
So all
know
them years
that.
that we know each other, I was always on the south. I was always on the east side. Yeah.
Well, look, you have to call me if nobody answers your request. I got you covered. I
Oh,
can
you know
do
I do some
that.
hair. You can do it. You
Yeah,
can.
I can do
Okay. Hey. At this time, beggars cannot be choosers. So whatever you gonna do, it's gonna be better than what I do. Whatever you do, it will be better than what I do.
I
Because when I say I would do some hair, cut their hair, they be like, "Oh, Uncle Todd, mm. Please don't do it. Don't. Just tell me what to wear. Don't do that."
look. I can be the braid, Todd.
Huh?
I can braid.
You can?
Cause I had Damari. Damari had my daughter has hair all the way down her back, and I
Oh,
had
come on with it. Hey, let's set this up. Let's do this.
I got you. I got you covered. So listen, if anybody is watching and they go through a similar situation and they have to deal with foster care, what is some advice that you would give them?
Oh, so yeah. Advice.
Number one is be patient.
Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you. If
Okay.
you're gonna do it, you need to decide on what is the big picture that you want to do
Okay.
first. Are you going to adopt? Or are you going to do guardianship? You have to know where you're going
Okay.
before you start the process. It's important. There's no way to get around that because that's the thing they're going to ask you multiple times. the process. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Because the job of DFACS or the caseworker is to make sure that the children have permanency. So
Okay.
you can't play any games. This, I'm temporary. No, what do you want to do? And then
Mm-hmm.
you build from that. So basically, if you're in my situation like mine and someone drops some kids off at your doorstep, I suggest that you definitely call the 24-hour hotline to report the incident. Someone should come to your home to evaluate the situation, talk to the children. Um, they quickly will, especially if you're a relative, can give you temporary custody
Okay.
if they find that your place is a safe environment for them. They do like a little canvas your place, check things out. So if it's overall, spacing for the kids, if you have multiple, if it's feasible, you can get that real fast.
Okay.
They do have money available for you to get like some type of excitement for the kids. It's not get rich money, but it's assistance. It's
Well,
assistance that will help. Because anything help. Um, oh, key. Whoever tells people that because you have foster kids that you automatically will get food stamps, that is not true
okay.
at all. Okay? Food stamps goes off the overall income within the house.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
So if you make too much money, it don't matter if you got a foster child who gets little income. They're gonna go off the whole income in the house, and you
Mm.
can very easily get denied.
Okay.
No
Okay.
food stamps. Um, Always see about cats. It's important. Checking their
Mhm.
cats because you're gonna need, depending on the age of the child. But if they are in daycare ages, because daycares will pick kids up and from school. That's always wonderful. See about cats. Get that going quickly.
Okay.
Cats can be a little slow, but they will pay for the daycare and pay for other things like activities as well. So you want to do that. Um, what else you want to do?
What about health insurance? Are they on Medicare, Medicaid?
Automatic. It's automatic. As soon as they go into foster care, it's automatic.
Okay.
I got their numbers, everything. It's best to try to get the children's, and I'm speaking about relatives now, okay,
Okay.
not strange people, to get birth certificates and social security cards. Find out who has them, get access to them, because that's going to be a question down the road.
Okay.
And sometimes, again, dealing with the foster care system, because they're so overworked, they have so much stuff, whatever, you put on them, you can miss some deadlines, some things you need, enrollment for school, all kinds of stuff can happen. So the sooner you can get that information for yourself, the better it will be for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that goes back to what you were saying to be proactive.
Definitely. Have to be proactive. Um, you'll be taking some classes you have to take to get
Hmm.
approved for foster care. But once they, like I said, once they designate your house is safe and that you're a good person, whatever, they will definitely be all in your business. So if you got anything to hide, you better rethink this thing. They're gonna drug test you. They're gonna ask your neighbors and whoever else and what they think about you and how you do. They're gonna ask the relatives, the ones you like and the ones you don't like. They take it through a screening. I mean, they're making sure the kid's gonna be in a good environment because they don't want to take them from one bad environment to put them in another one. So they
Right.
definitely will screen. Um, yeah, they're in your business. That's for sure. They don't mind asking them hard questions. And you're like, what? Okay. Um,
Let me ask you this: where did you find the 1-800? I don't have it on here, but the 1-800 you went to the Georgia Foster Care System
so
website.
no, I'm gonna tell you, Tina. To be honest, that whole process, I had to give homage to a fraternity brother of ours. I will not say his name
Okay,
because he works in the industry,
okay,
but we used to work together, and so he was one of my calls when it happened, and
okay,
he literally walked me through the things that I did not know,
okay.
and he
Gotcha.
provided the information that I did not know. There's things that I
Okay,
knew, but the things I didn't, he did. So
okay.
if he's watching, bruh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything you did. You pulled some change, but like I said, because he works in the industry,
I
I don't want to
understand.
divulge his name. No, no, no.
I
But he
understand.
go. So yeah, but it's available. You can look it up. You can Google it. It's basically the same number you would call if you're seeing something that you're concerned, like if you were a neighbor and you think if the children being neglected, it's that same number.
Okay.
It just has different. When it goes to the automation, it gives you certain things you need to press for this, press for that, press for that. But it's the same hotline that you can Google if you're going to report an incident where you feel like a child's been abused or neglected. It's all the same.
Okay. And I'll make sure I find the number when we post the video. I'll have it under the video so people.
Mm-hmm.
Now your information is streaming at the bottom of the screen. I've got your name, your email, and your Facebook. If someone would like to contact you to ask more information, which one is the best way to contact you? The email, the Facebook?
All of the above.
Okay.
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, when you're dealing with kids and you give those information out, I had to check emails because I get emails from teachers, school stuff. So I'm always in my job, so I'm always looking at emails. And everybody knows I like to post on Facebook, so that's my social thing. So and I get notifications as well. So either one, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, do you have any last tips for the viewers before we end our video? I know that you are on your lunch break, and I just really appreciate. I know we weren't able to go live this evening, but people will see it this evening at 7:00. And I just want to say thank you for sharing your journey to parenthood. Some people would keep it within themselves, but you called me that night, and when you told me the story, I was speechless. And then the calmness that you had, and I know you, so we can find humor. We can find a little bit of humor, in kind of like dark situations. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being open to sharing your story. I think you did real good. You didn't mention anything, so you.
It was hard.
I
I had to think a little bit. I'm like, how I want to say this, how I want to say that. But I tell you what, we said it earlier in this interview, but it's still viable. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And you are who you are for whatever reason. And you know this because we talked about it, so I'll mention a little bit this real quickly.
Okay.
Anyone who really knows Todd from high school, college, whatever, knew that I originally always wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
I always did. It just did not happen. Okay. And me and my mother would have many conversations about, these futuristic grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said that I wanted a daughter. That's what I always wanted. And people were like, why you want a daughter? You don't want a son? I'm like, yeah. Well, my mom already had me. Like, I want her to have a granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? We talked about fights between me and her, what happened, if the girl's hair ain't right. And we envisioned the stories. And so to think that in 2020, she got her wings and left this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my world had come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And then literally 2 years later, I'm blessed with these 3 amazing young ladies that drive me crazy, but I love every bit of it. Love every bit of it. And there's a joy that I have in this role that I never thought I could ever get. I never thought I would have this feeling. I'm as some of my friends would say, I'm part of the club. I'm doing the things that I saw my friends do. Like all my friends, kids are grown and
Right.
they grandparents. They laughing at me talking about, boy, I remember when I used to do that. But I'm able. I'm talking about the kids more. I'm talking about me. I'm showing pictures and I'm doing all the things that
Yeah.
the corny stuff, the corny thing. But it's fun. It's good. And I'm learning about social studies again. I'm learning about science again and
Right.
math and
And the new
language
way.
arts.
And the
Huh?
new way that they do
Oh,
stuff.
bump that new way. I'm doing the old way.
Not the way they did back in the day.
The new way is too much work. It's just extra. Just extra work to show your work. But
let me tell you the story right quick. So
okay.
Damari was in a math class. I think she was probably in middle school or high school or something like that.
Mm.
She was in a math class and she ended up getting in trouble because she got the answer right,
Okay.
but the teacher wanted her to go through unnecessary steps to get to the answer. So
Mm-hmm.
I had put Damari in Kumon. So I'm going to tell you about Kumon because it's a Japanese style learning. You've heard of Sylvan Learning School.
Okay.
Okay, so Kumon is similar to Sylvan, except it's on a Japanese style learning, right?
Okay.
But what they do is they teach the children how to, and it's math and reading. So
Okay.
Damari didn't have a problem with reading. We put her into to accentuate her math skills, right?
Okay.
So Kumon taught her to do math in her head.
Mm.
So you can ask Damari what was the answer. The answer is right. But the teacher wanted her to write down all these steps, and Damari was like, I don't understand. I got the answer right.
Right. Right. That's
So yeah,
crazy.
they go around the mulberry bush on some stuff on getting to the answer. You know, I'm like, just get to the answer.
Right. That's
So,
amazing.
hey, parenting is not for the faint at heart, and you now know that. But
No,
I
it's not for the faint heart. Not at all. Not the least bit. Not in the closest to it.
but I can see the joy and the love that you have, Todd,
Oh, I
from
appreciate it.
how you have embraced your journey of being a parent or guardian, parent, guardian, whatever you want to call it. You've embraced
Whatever I am, I'm all the above.
it. Yeah.
All the
So,
above.
so before we end, do you have any last minute tips for the viewers?
Um,
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna get that over now. Hold on. Hold on a second.
What did you say? I'm sorry, you had froze.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying I got on the elevator and then I'm trying to get to my my desk because my phone is starting to get ready to die soon.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
rushing.
I got
But
you.
but
I got
but as far as last tips. Hey, you know what? If you gotta just trust and believe in God that He's going to direct you, and if you feel as though that you're put in a situation like mine, and this is what God has called you to do it. Just do it, and then be honest enough to be honest enough to know that if this is not what you want to do, it's okay as well.
right.
It's
Right.
okay. You don't want to do any harm to those children. So therefore, if it's not for you, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just not your thing. You know, it's not
Right.
your the situation. But if you feel impressed and called to do something like that, then do it.
And like
And
you
be,
said, at the end of the day, it's all about the children.
uh-huh.
Todd, I'm just going to say thank you so much for allowing us to do the interview. It will actually air tonight. I know you got to go, but everybody else, we will see you in 2 weeks, same time, same place. Goodbye, everybody.
Right.